time to get your fix. Come on down, get your horrible gaming review. 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 Wow.
Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming, and welcome back to another horrible game review. Well, before we get into this, as per se usual, a few disclaimers. Number one, the word horrible in the title of this content does not refer to the game or DLC that I'm reviewing, but much more the content itself. I do snap judgment reviews here, so I get about 5 to 10 hours with each game. I'm just trying to give you an idea whether you're going to have fun right off the bat or not. That being said, as well as the fact that I think video games are one of the most subjective forms of art, I will not be giving you a scored review. Instead, I'll be telling you the pros, what this game is overall, the pros and the cons, as all games are, and then I will... This sucks. Take two. Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming. Welcome to another horrible game review. Couple of disclaimers before I get into it, as usual. The word horrible in the title of this content does not necessarily refer to the game or DLC that I'm reviewing, but much more the content itself. I do snap judgment reviews here, so I'm doing 5 to 10 hours tops. I'm just trying to give you an idea of whether you're going to enjoy this game right off the bat or not. That being said, coupled with the fact that I believe video games are one of the most subjective forms of art, I do not give scored reviews. Instead, I'm going to tell you what this game is. I'm going to give you the pros and the cons in my point of view, as all reviews are, and then I'm going to tell you whether I personally will be sticking with this game outside the purposes of this review here. And what I am reviewing today is a bit ridiculous. I must admit, the only reason I chose to do this review is this is technically the first time I've actually gotten to review it, even though it has been released something like 7 freaking times. So you probably figured out by now, I am doing Skyrim, the Anniversary Edition. So, what is Skyrim, the Anniversary? Well, first of all, I'm not going to tell you what Skyrim is. If you don't know what Skyrim is, then you are not a gamer. There's nothing about you that's a gamer. You've stumbled onto this channel by accident through a haze of some sort, and you are lost here. And I would love your subscription, but let's face it, gaming is not something that you search out regularly. Because if you don't know what Skyrim is, you haven't played games in like 20 years. This game is old. 10 years old. This is the 10-year re-release of this game. And it is just a fantasy RPG from Bethesda. But what Anniversary Collection is specifically is it bundles the Special Edition together, which was all of the DLC added in, while also adding, kind of streamlining the Creation Club stuff. Now, one thing about Skyrim and most Bethesda games is it has a rich and juicy mod community. This game, no different. There's tons of mods for Skyrim. People still mod Skyrim to this day. It is a classic, huge open world game, which is how they managed to get away with re-releasing it so many times. In this case, they've taken some really, really choice Creation Club stuff from back in the day and added it in a nice, easy way. You just go in, you press download all, you wait a couple extra minutes, and then you get all the extra fixins to the game. You still have all the mod additions and stuff, but they also added some up-resing, some better graphics, some better texture mapping. You know, the next gen update basically is what it is. So they've added a ton of stuff. They've added fishing to this, tons of different houses, tons of swords, tons of different additional things to do, such as farming and getting pets and taming horses. But what's interesting about this is all of this stuff, and I mean all of this stuff, was all findable in the original game before. Of course, you can also enjoy all the DLCs, such as the Dragonborn DLC, Hearthstone, Dawn Guard, whole 9 yards. And it's all rolled into one wonderful package. Look, I'm not going to mince hairs. Like I said, you know what Skyrim is. You know what this is. So let's get into the pros and cons. Let's talk about the ups and downs. Did this cut mustard? Well, first, let's go positive. I want to go positive. One thing this does in spades is it makes useless things that did not matter in Skyrim much, much, much more useful. It gives you reasons to do things, and it really helps to immerse you into play. What am I talking about? Well, first of all, one of the best mods that they've added already, which, in fairness, this was already in the special edition, but nonetheless, I'm going to talk about it here, is a survival mode, which means your character actually gets hungry. They get tired. You have to sleep every so often. You have to eat. This already adds so much to it because now you have to eat all those useless food and drink items that you'd find that recovered almost no health. All the cooking in the game that didn't seem to really matter. Now it has a reason. You also have cold and... you also have the cold, kind of like a temperature thing, which we're going to get into in the cons because I didn't like that so much, and I'm going to tell you why. But you also have to manage your temperature or you'll lose health. This really brings another aspect to the game, and it definitely helps to immerse you in play. Like I said, you find so many useless things in the vanilla Skyrim back in the day. So many things that aren't worth money. They don't really recover your health. They're just there. There's no ever reason to eat in the original game. Whereas now, there is one, and these things actually matter. Cooking actually matters. Stuff like that actually matters. I'm going to actually dovetail that off. We're still in the same con, but it's just a big one. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about another thing that was very hard to level up, and that was smithing. Smithing, obviously, everybody knows. You get to the level 100, you get the most coolest artifacts that you can smith in that, but actually doing smithing as a skill is really difficult because the way Skyrim works is every one of your skills levels up individually by use, which I always thought was kind of cool. I think most of the Elder Scrolls games work that way. Morrowind worked that way too. But it also means that some of the skills that you don't use all the time kind of suffer. Smithing being one of them. You have to do time-consuming, constant smithing. It's extremely expensive, and it is extremely time-consuming because to smith a dagger, you don't just go up to the blacksmith and press dagger. You have to get the right utilities for it. You have to get the right crafting supplies. That allows you to craft the dagger. That allows you to build it. That allows you to level up your skill, but it still levels up at the same rate as everything else. So, like, no matter what you do, your one-handed fighting ability goes up super fast, while smithing does not. Even some of the other some of the other seldomly used skills go up faster than that, like lock picking. There's so many opportunities to pick a lock, whereas smithing is just so long and time-consuming. Plus, like I said, you don't need all the weapons. You build the weapons you need, you upgrade them, and then once you do that, you don't need anything else. So you're literally just building things just to get the skill up, and that's boring. Whereas this adds all these extra items, adventurer backpacks, different types of armor that really bust out kind of some of the norms, and a little campsite that you can pick up that actually really helps with the survival mode because you have to sleep to level up. Sometimes you're in the middle of nowhere and there's no sleeping bag anywhere. You can actually take some camps with you to set them up. It's a really cool addition, and all of that gives you smithing skill, which helps you level that up faster. It makes it more useful. You know, I'm going to even keep going on this pro. They also, what they did is they really made it more viable on a lot of different builds as a fighter. I never could in the original game play a one-handed fighter who did not use a shield or a second weapon. Whereas in this, it's totally viable because there's tons of different armor types that keep your armor light, that give you a little bit more armor, that put them more on par with heavy armor. There's also other weapons that you can get that really help you play that type of character, and because of that, it really opens stuff up. So like I said, you took this game that was like one petal of a beautiful flower and just added so much to it. And that's really where the pros are on this game. I mean, the texturing's nice. It's nice for it to be prettier, but it's not anything to write home about. And just the extra stuff to do is really nice. And I love that there's enough of it that anywhere I'm going, I'm going to run into something new, whether it's taming horses or random goblin attacks or something along those lines. And it's really breathed some life into this game. Definitely, you play it in a different way, especially with the survival mode. It makes me very happy. But let's go ahead and jump on over to the cons, shall we? Alright, so, first and foremost, number one con, with a bullet, the price. I want to say it is deplorable that Bethesda is selling this game for $50 again. I mean, sure, you get the DLCs and you get the Creation Club stuff, but I want to point out that the Creation Club stuff is all stuff you can get in Skyrim before, and a lot of it you could get for free. That stuff is super frustrating to me, that they're selling this game for $50 again, 10 years after its creation. Don't get me wrong, they remastered it. They didn't remaster it, but they up-res the graphics, they made it look prettier, and they streamlined adding all this stuff, so they should deserve some money, but like 20, maybe 30, but 50? A whole nother full-priced game for this? Deplorable. And the only reason I purchased it was on a huge 40% off sale in Steam. So I got it for 30, which is what I would be willing to purchase it for. Now let's go to the next con, and that would be the weird audio issues in it. So, first of all, Skyrim does not function really great on the PC. And I'm talking just in general. There's this loader that pops up all by itself, and then that loader is the only place you can access the option. And then when you bring the game up, tabbing out of the game is actually relatively difficult. Some of the normal things that normally work, such as the Windows button or Windows button plus desktop, just doesn't work. You have to Alt-tab to the thing you want and jump out of it. But in addition to that, the audio on the speakers, it's really low, even at max volume. The only way I could hear anything was by plugging in my headset. And if I plugged in my headset and listened to it through my headset, it sounded incredibly louder. I don't know why this is. I don't know what the mastering on this was, but it's just kind of an issue. Optimization has never been Bethesda's big part, but, you know, that stuff is in there, and I gotta point it out. So am I or am I not going to stick with it? Alright, let's be real here. Let's be completely honest. My thoughts on Skyrim, start to finish. Number one, Skyrim revolutionized video games. Whether you think it did or not, it did. It's just a fact. Whether you like it or not, it's a fact. You can hate Skyrim, but it revolutionized it. With the way it delivers an open world in such a way that you could literally play the game for 400 hours and never do the main storyline. Never even get your shouts, which is a main mechanic of the game, unlocked. That is huge. And in a lot of ways, something that hasn't really been duplicated. How hard is it to avoid the main storyline in Ubisoft games or other open world games? Pretty hard. Whereas Skyrim is a playground. It's a true playground, which gives you a character of your own creation and allows you to live in this fantasy world. This edition only further helps that. It truly does. And while there are deplorable practices behind Bethesda, and I cannot stress this enough, the fact that this game has been released and sold for $50 as much as it has been, starting with the 360 and the PlayStation 3, moving into the next era for another $50 for the special edition, and then the Switch, and all these other places, the PC, and this and that. It's shameful the amount of stuff that they've sold on this. Still, you can't take away what it is in its normal, just by itself, and that is an amazing open world game. And this edition only allows you to live in it, even to immerse yourself in it, even better. Because of that, I have to say I'm definitely going to continue to play this. I'm going to continue to play this probably well after this review, because Skyrim is a game that I have played over 20 times, and I'm still finding new things. The addition of all this stuff that they put into it just gives you this wow factor everywhere you go. And it's amazing. I do want to say the fishing that they advertise, though, not that great. Really isn't. Everything else, though, a lot of fun. From the new houses to the new weapons. And how many of these new weapons require you to actually complete a quest? So many. Taming horses, fighting goblins. Look, Skyrim is an amazing game. It's still an amazing game today, and it still holds up. I mean, if an single-player open world game isn't your bag, I get it. Stay away from it. But overall, this game revolutionized what it is. And for that, I love it, and I'm going to keep playing it. Should you pay $50 for this? No. Definitely not. Alright, I hope that helped you guys. You can tell me below if I got it wrong or I got it right in the comments. You can also reach us on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. You can join our Discord, links in the description below. You can tell me how wrong I am there and influence this in all of our other shows. You can also check us out on twitch.tv/OldManGamingDH. We stream there regularly. And then, yeah, as long as you keep watching and listening, we'll keep making them. See you guys next time.